Hey, welcome to this edition of Business Basics with my special guest today, of course, is Amin, and he has Chiro Today up in North Liberty, and it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Lee. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. So as I was mentioning before, what we talk about is, first of all, let's get to know a little bit about you, why you decided to go and go into become a chiropractic doctor, why you wanted to do that. What's the passion that you have for that? Can you explain that a little bit?
So I'll set this up. I'll give you a little feedback. I'm the only child in my family. My parents migrated to United States in 1998 and decided out of all the states, all the cities to live in Iowa City for the rest of their life. And, at first it was kind of hard to accept that for me, but then I quickly realized you just got to adapt. And that key term will come back, and throughout the interview, I'll repeat that over and over. Once I adapted, it was the best thing ever. I really cannot live anywhere but the surrounding area here, that Iowa City, Coralville, North Liberty area. Just it's mind-boggling for me to want to move or consider just moving anywhere else. So I feel blessed that they chose that. Now, being from Persian family, you're guaranteed you got to become a doctor. Worst case scenario, you become an engineer and you're done. Okay. The parents get a little pushy with that. So but that's fine. They want you to succeed. So I do understand that. Now, throughout my whole family, I think I have 9 dentists. I have a lot of medical doctors, few pharmacists, a couple PTs. What was unique for me is I found something about chiropractic through my counselor at University of Iowa when I attended school there. And I had no idea what it was. I'll tell you what, I started calling and scheduling. Somebody will just let me shadow him and go from there. And I started doing that. And I was really interested, and I was learning from some of these older docs that I was going around their offices. They were kind. They would let me in. They would try to, that a couple of them even wrote me letters of recommendation for school.
That's great.
Then, one day I'm sitting talking about it, being interested at chiropractic school and research lab that I worked. One of the PhDs that I worked directly under as a research assistant, she said, "Oh, my husband's just about to finish Palmer. Do you want to talk to him?" And that was the beginning of the end. That was just really, that changed my mind, perception. Simon is a great guy. He's very smart. He's as a matter of fact, he's too smart for humankind, I feel like. So he mentored me through this whole thing. He told me what to do, what to study, what to not study, what to waste your time or not waste your time on. So he took me under his wings, and sadly he doesn't live in Iowa anymore. And they moved because his wife took a position as a professor in another school. So I was happy to have him coach me through this whole thing. And to be honest with you, I did not have my first chiropractic adjustment until I actually started school at Palmer.
Really?
Now keep in mind that set the bar pretty good in that standard, because I'm getting adjusted at school. But once you receive adjustment from a student versus an actual provider, you tell the difference between it. Okay. But that opened my eyes. I'm going to be honest. I opened my eyes to say, you're going to suck just like that person when it comes time. Okay. What are you going to do to be better about it? So I took that time to learn as much as I could.
Yes.
That's my story. I became a chiropractor, and I don't know. At this point, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And the reason that became a passion for me was I watched my mom struggle as a retired nurse. She got all sort of treatments for back pain throughout the months, weeks, years of my life. She would miss a lot of days off work because she would be just in excruciating pain, crying at home.
Oh wow! Yeah.
I watched her struggle through that. So for me, when I discovered there was something that could be done about this, beside all these, failed attempts, and no disrespect to the medical profession, that stuff works when it's needed. But what do you do for the people that they fail at it?
Right.
Okay. I get many types of patients. Sadly, throughout the day, I get somebody in here that has spent, 50, 100,000, 200,000 in all sort of treatments, and they can't find what's wrong with them. I just do 1-2 treatment, they're like, you know, I had 2 days of relief versus no relief. And that's heartwarming for me.
It is.
You know, I didn't want to approach this as I'm God or something. I just wanted to do what was good for the, you know, humankind, what was good for the profession, what was good for anybody, to help out anybody.
And I mean, do you find that you spend a little bit of time on educating first timers about the medicine of chiropractic? Do you have to help them out? Yeah.
Absolutely. I use a lot of analogies. One of the biggest analogies that I use throughout the day is, I realize I have to explain to them, you got in here in the car, correct? Just because you feel like your back has not hurt for 2 years, 3 years, just because your car hasn't had the check engine light come on, it doesn't mean things are not wrong with it.
Right.
You got to take your car in for an oil change and tire rotation, you know, every so many months. That just depends on how fast you rack up a mileage on it, how much, you know, you're utilizing it, this and that. And that just goes with the human body. Human bodies kind of need, you know, services like this are really just inexpensive. What we forget is where I get that patient in tears in front of my eyes, they're willing to sign a blank check, hand it to me. They're willing to, you know, do whatever they can to just get relief, to get out of that situation.
Right.
I feel blessed to be able to help them out. Now, I'm not perfect. There's times I fail, but that's just, you know, that's what it is. That person sadly has waited too long. They've not done what they needed to do 10 years ago, or they have failed in everything, and I'm their last resort, and I'm still failing them. So what do you do at that point? The hardest part is, you know, and there's exceptions to that, but time to time they just have to accept they screwed up. And this is where I try to educate everybody. It's just hard because sometimes there's a boundary. You gotta know where this education does not cross over to a sales pitch. I don't want to sell anything to anybody. I just want to treat them. I want to do what I do for a living. They choose to whether they come back to see me, what they choose, whether that helped them or not. I mean, that's just simple and easy.
Isn't that funny? I know exactly what you mean by that, because for those of us who are really passionate about what we do, if somebody asks us, hey, can you tell me about, and all of a sudden we're all in and our eyes light up and they think, whoa, don't sell me. It's like, I'm just sharing my passion with you.
No, I have learned this, you know, just many professions have this, chiropractors have it too. There's a lot of sales pitch. There's a lot of, you know, one thing I try to have different from all the other chiropractors was I'm not going to sell anything to anybody. The only item sold in this office is the chiropractic adjustment, and I provide BioFreeze if they want to buy it at the office. I don't put on anything. My model's different. My model may not work for 100% of people. It may not work for everybody. Sometimes people that, you know, that tell me, how come you didn't tell me come back seeing you 10 times? Are you feeling better right now? Yes. See me when you need it.
Right.
Okay? That's after I gave him an education of telling him, hey, you can go once a month for just preventative care. Okay.
Right.
But I don't want him to set a schedule and say, I need to be here on this date. And I don't even, hey, if I could tell them how beneficial was this and give out all the secrets, then, you know, I'm going to look bad. I'm going to look like the bad guy. So just giving them what they want at the time is what I try to do. And that's just taking care of business by giving them relief from their pain, their aches. I see our business as my office has been more like a pain clinic than anything.
Sure.
I take anybody, but it's just that pain clinic model. So.
Well, and you're very approachable. People can just walk in. They don't necessarily need an appointment in advance or wait 2 weeks to get in to see you.
I'm a busy parent of 2 kids. Okay. I totally understand. I've worked in as an associate in other offices where they do scheduling. You know, you have 30 spots throughout the day where the chiropractor can see patients. You book appointments. I guarantee you 4 to 5 people will miss their appointment that day. No call, no show. Then they'll be very angry that you charge their credit card or their insurance $25 for no call, no show or something like that. Then you will have, 3 to 4 people run 5 minutes, 10, 15 minutes late. They expect you to be able to accommodate to them. So here's the deal. I said this model, I said, I'm going to be friendly. I'm going to work 9, 10-hour days. Okay. I'm going to be here for you. Whether you want to be here for yourself or not, that depends on you as a patient. And that was my model. Now, keep in mind, this thing exploded. Just about 4 o'clock here, I feel like Santa Claus right now around Christmas. A line of cars. I swear to God, people drive by, they're like, how busy are you? And I tell them, look, you just see me at the busy hour where everybody just got off work and decided to all show up at once.
Oh, okay? Sure.
So I feel like Santa. I feel like all these kids are lining up to see me. With the exception of, I haven't got a white beard yet. It's getting there. And I only gained about 20 pounds. I'm not there yet. So we're working on it.
Good. So tell me, how did COVID-19, so you started your practice up in North Liberty back in February 2019. So you're going a good year, and then all of a sudden, wham, COVID-19. How much of an impact did that have for you?
So I'll give you a little perspective. Being a 13-year veteran of being a chiropractor, I decided to give up working for other people's, and I wanted to do my own business. I guess I was always scared of doing it because it just, what are you going to do when you fail? And I decided to, if I'm going to fall and hit my head, let's go full force at it. So I decided to go and do this in 2019, February 1st, we opened doors. Now, I set a good plan. I had my rents and everything covered for the first 3 months. Well, my expectations were not met. I was still slow at the first 6 months. That 6 months mark passed, I exploded here. It's like the word of mouth was getting out. People knew what I was doing. People knew how much passionate I was, and I was there to care for them. Now, with respect to all my colleagues and professionals, there's many of us. I may fail a few people, but my goal is to win at least, greater than 95% of the population that comes to my office. When we got to November and December of 19, and then January and February of 20, my business was 500% up. I can't even describe this.
Fantastic.
That's great. It exploded. And I couldn't be any more happier than that. At that point, I was like, I need a second chiropractor to help me out. Guess what? When I started planning that, March, COVID, we're back down. I lost 75, 80% of my patient numbers. And, I can kind of blame we all did go through a lot of scares with this. It was just so unusual. Nobody was ready for it. I actually encouraged, I post on Google and Facebook. I encouraged my patients. I said, look, if you're not really here for any sort of aches and pains, please don't come in. I encourage that. I encourage them to stay home. The reason for that was risk of exposure, whether just for myself, my family, for them. As a frontline worker, they wanted us to work. They wanted us to take overflow from just regular urgent cares and ERs because, they don't want people going into ER for headache. They wanted the ER to handle cases of heart and, stroke and potentially all these COVID cases. And many other things. So I work through it every day. One thing I just remember to do or kept reminding myself, and I still do, adapt. You got to adapt. I said this term earlier. You just got to be able to, day to day, it was mind boggling. I think the first 2 weeks, there was few times I broke down in front of patients because the question came, how you doing? I'm like, you're my patient too. And it's 5:30 at night. I've been here for 10 hours. So we got you March, we got you April. It was still very challenging. I applied for all these helps from to local Iowa government to federal government. I still, up to this date, I still haven't got any help. I gave up on thinking about all that because the politics and things that went into that was just driving me nuts. It was eating me inside out. I almost felt like as a new business owner, they said, he's going to fail anyway. Why should we give him money? And
Wow.
if you know my personality, if I got to sell every pair of shoes, everything in my closet, if I got to sell my car, I will make sure this business will not, and I repeat this for a third time, will not fail.
That's right.
I am not set to fail. Okay. There's been so many rough times in my life, moving from another country to here, doing whatever I had to do to get by. Potentially, I have learned, again, that word comes to adapt. Okay.
Right.
What do you do at that point?
Mm-hmm.
So I told my kids, no more fancy mac and cheese. We would just buy the regular mac and cheese. I'm kidding.
I know what you mean, but it is, as a business owner, you need that tenacity to say, above all things, my business is going to succeed. If I've got to sacrifice other things in my life, so be it. I get it. When my wife and I were at a pediatric dental practice for 20 years, and there are times, I mean, and business was good, but there are times the cash flow ebbs and flows. And we say, look, regardless, this business is here. We are serving the community, and we are going to be here for them. I completely get what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of those things. Every moment of the day that goes by for me, it's a learning experience. And I tell my patients, I tell my kids, obviously they're little, they don't understand this. The day that you stop learning, or the day I stop learning, I better be dead. Okay. Because I'm going to learn whether it's just from, another person or another situation or what goes on, I'm going to learn. I come to this business every day with one thing in my mindset. I'm going to do 1% today better than I did yesterday. Now, I could have been 100, 150% yesterday. I'm going to try to be 1% better. If I was at 2% yesterday, I'm going to be at 3% today. There's no way I'm going to fail. Okay.
That's right. That's right. Always improving. Exactly. I love that mindset. I really do. I mean, because it really speaks to how we need to prepare ourselves. I mean, we're either above the point or we're below the point. And as business owners, we have to always be above the point. We're not going to blame things, because you know what? You're right. Adapt. Okay. So today it's cloudy outside. Fine. We got this happening in our society. Fine. We're still here.
I tell you what, I watch a lot of kids movies these days because one of the consequences of COVID was I'm going to get rid of my $120 cable bill because what do I sacrifice? My kids are not utilizing the cable. I don't think a sport's going to happen for me. I can go to my parents' house, watch the football game or something. So long story short, we got rid of that. I watch a lot of Blu-ray and Netflix and this and that. And the movie Sing was on the other night, and also a night later, talking to a friend, and he reminds me of the same thing. And I said, "What a short word!" It repeated itself. There's that little clip that he says, hitting rock bottom. The only way going up is the only way that you go up. And I'm trying to rephrase this from my head, but I got too excited and worked up about this interview. So potentially I gotta kind of, dial it back down and let you talk or ask me a question, because I feel like
no. This is good. No, this is all about you, because that's why we do these things. I want to celebrate our businesses in our area, and it's great. So tell me what advice you would have for someone going into business. What's the one skill set or mindset that they need to have that you would recommend?
The biggest key term I can tell you from what I had to learn and be reminded of that. And I'm really thankful for my wife, because she reminds me of that every day, because sometimes I fail and I forget. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself. I can't express that. Obviously, you got to have a working mindset. Building a business is not easy. Owning a business is not easy. Don't let anybody distract you from this. The key term, believing in yourself, is the start of it. Then comes the rest of it. You got to learn every day. Be able to soak up like a sponge. We are all sponges, okay? You can't just say this is my way or the highway. You got to be able to adapt and learn. You got to be able to kind of see what the situation is and what can you do about it. Now,
I agree.
This is an interesting year. You know, being almost 40 years old, I've never experienced running out of toilet paper or chainsaw in city of Iowa City at the same time ever. I tell this to my patients and they laugh just like you do. I put up a whole comedy show in here to get them a little distracted so I can actually work on their aches and pain. I call it torture for some reason because, you know, and nobody comes in here and says, I feel so great. I don't know what to do with this money in my pocket. Can you take it and beat the crap out of me? Okay. So
that's the truth.
Hey, I try to tell the truth, and sometimes I get carried away and start cussing in the middle of it. And my patients that have told me, we feel like the more you cuss that day, the more you're letting your anger, but the more honest you are at the same time too. No, I don't get like out of control, like using really wrong language, but
no, I get it. I get it. You're just expressing yourself, right? I mean, it's
exactly,
okay. We do that.
Patients accepted who I am. I mean, I'm goofy looking, so they're like, we're gonna go see the goofy doctor. I mean,
our patients
for the comedy show I put on.
Well, they want to know that we're real people. You know what I mean? They want to see that we have the same frustrations that they do, and we're just all trying to make a go of it. Honestly.
I tell them I'm no different. I mean, as a matter of fact, I suffered an incident 3 years ago. I had low back surgery. Now, whether I want to feel blessed about the situation or talking about my permanent nerve damage in my right leg and showing them how I can't even lift it and do some of these things, it's one of those things I tell them, look, you're not the only one. I'm no exception. I heard all the time, man. They ask me, who do you go see? Where do you go? I'm like, you know, I go to a lot of local chiropractors here, whoever is willing to take me and see me, because it's just hard. It's not feasible for me to shut down my office to go get treated. So it's a little harder for me to see them versus them seeing me. You know, give it about 20 minutes. I'm expecting another chiropractor to come to my office to get adjusted here. It's my day off. I'm not even charging him. Like, do I want to consider, you know, this a double favor? Like, now I'm calling you at midnight to come for adjustment.
But you know, that also is great because we have to believe in what we're doing. And you know, I mean, it's like you just said it. You're going to go see another chiropractor when you have lower back pain because obviously you can't do it to yourself, but you really believe in the science behind all of it, and you're practicing what you preach, which is fantastic.
Sure.
Yeah, that's great.
If I don't believe, then why am I doing this? You know,
exactly.
Up to this day, I've been wanting, you know, my goofy personality is like this. I wanted to do this at the beginning when we opened doors, and my wife held me back and says it's too cheesy. I wanted to give myself a 5-star Google review and say, if I don't believe in myself to be a 5-star chiropractor, a 5-star, you know, a provider, then why should you? So, and she's held me back. As a matter of fact, I feel blessed that I don't even have to do that because other people are just doing it for us. So that word of mouth, that you know, just the online reviews, things people just is spreading around to get me more new patients, are just one of those overwhelming things that you know, my patients aren't building my practice. I'm just doing the work. That's it.
Yeah. So I mean, what you're using for marketing, your primary vehicle is word of mouth. It sounds like.
It is. I was when we opened doors, I tried the multiple routes, and we settled for about a year with the company did our web design, and I paid you know, over $400 a month for Google to get our name out and kind of, you know, help us out. But I never approached it in targeting. You know, I'm as much as I'm out in the community, then I'm also like to keep, you know, my personal life. I like to, I share with my patients everything about, you know, my kids, my family. I'm talking all the time in the office. But one thing I've realized is when I go somewhere and I quickly get a message, hey, give us a review or something, I personally don't like that. You know, one of the things I tried to do is not do that way. I really went old fashioned. I was, before COVID hit, this is this is consequence of COVID that I've stopped doing this. I have no time. I used to sit and handwrite letters like back in the day where you would take a pen and a paper and thank people for coming to our office and write a few sentences. Say, hey, if you got any problems, let me know if there's anything I can do to help you out. And so many times people came and said, we've never seen this many, many years of our life. It's so heartwarming that you're actually doing this.
Right.
I did everything different. So people were coming and doing the reviews. Time to time, you know, I get somebody that's bragging about how it's great and this and that. I'm like, you know, word of mouth is huge. That review, whether you do it on Google, Facebook, you know, somewhere it's huge for us. If you don't do it, that's fine. I'll take what I get these days.
Right, right. Well, word of mouth is working. That's fantastic.
It is working phenomenon. So I've been approached as a new business owner. I realize everybody, whether in town or out of town, will call you every day and try to sell you something. And I had to learn the hard way. I mean, a couple times I quickly pulled out my credit card and signed up for things that then I regretted, or, you know, I found out it was just a scam and I just provided my number. Now I have to call the local bank and say, hey, they just took $400 and they're not giving me anything. So well, one thing I realized was, you know, how do I want to approach this? I get, you know, day to weeks, every so often, and now I still get people call me and, hey, we can do advertisement for you. I tell you what, I'm so busy, I don't want advertisement. And no disrespect to anybody, but I got to be able to handle the load. I cannot overload this because it not only it looks bad, but my goal is to last for another 20, 30, so many years. I'm not trying to kill myself in just you're out of months. So.
Well, and I don't think many people put the value, or hopefully they do put the value on that word of mouth referral based advertising, because it really speaks to our abilities. It really speaks to our level of customer service. When we owned a pediatric dental practice, we rarely advertised. I mean, the first year, and that was back in the day when, you know, Precedus and newspaper advertising. Of course, we had a little thing in the phone book when we all had phone books back then. But honestly, we got referrals and we got referrals from other providers and referrals from other patients. And like you, we were topped out. We couldn't see any more patients in a day because of, it was all referral. You know, word of mouth advertising is the best.
Absolutely. And it's done very well for me. Whether it's a wife, husband, mom, dad, or somebody comes in here. And the next thing I see in the next 6 to 10 days is like the entire family is getting treated here. This pattern shows over and over and over. Now, the same way I get these people, I realize whether it's me or somewhere else, once you screw up that person, not only you lost that person, you lost the opportunity to treat the rest of the family.
Isn't that the truth? You're right.
And this is a small community. Word of mouth gets out there quickly. Word of mouth is huge in your benefit and against you, sadly. Now, you know, at this day and age, I've realized you can screw up once and people put you under a microscope all of a sudden and make a big deal out of it. But you got to realize you got to be strong. You got to believe in yourself. Just because you screwed up once, just because you screwed up, you know, it does not mean you're done. You're dead. You just got to go away and don't come back. You just got to learn from it.
Exactly.
That's what my take is. Like I said, I'm not a perfect person. There's been moments in this practice that I tell my patients, you know, the business has been so busy, but I feel like I want to stick my head in something and scream that day. Why? Because I may accept or adapt to COVID. 50 other people have not up to this state. And it is, you know, it was yesterday somebody walked in here and said, do I need to wear a mask? And, you know, I have not been for or against the mask, but I wear it. I've just adapted and I said, this is our normal. This is what we do. But my response to this patient was, are we really asking this right now at this point? I mean, and the funny thing is, I asked this person, I haven't seen you for 2 months. Anything changed? Oh, I had COVID. And what do I say at that point?
Right.
I have no comeback. I have no response. Like, do I want to take the time to educate this person? I almost feel like sometimes I got to give up this job and have a full-time job to kind of make sense to people. Like, some of the things that got politicized over this whole scenario was not best for the humankind. This was just a simple, kind act of kindness that we all had to do for each other. It is hard. It's for me, it's just been challenging to see these kind of things. Now, that doesn't happen that often, but it surely happens, you know, some days more than others. And I think at that point, God's testing my patience. I'm just a straightforward shooter. I don't have time for BS. That's it.
Well, right. I don't either. And you know what? And let me just tell you what I've learned over the years. Because you're straightforward with your patients, because you're willing to communicate and just tell them the God's honest truth, right? It's like, look, can I be running around the block tomorrow? No. We'll get you better, but you're not going to be 100% perfect. But you know what? When those mistakes do happen, and they do for all of us, but the fact that they know that you're genuine, you're heartfelt in what you do, you're open in your communication, you know, you send out the handwritten notes, they see the humanness in you. That's what allows them to say, you know what? By golly, I'm going to give him a second chance or a third chance, because it's like, he is a real person. He's authentic. And I think we all need to be authentic in our practices.
Absolutely. I hear that from my patients all the time. I mean, sometimes I have to keep my checks and balances. I ask him, I'm like, why you keep coming back? I mean, I feel like I helped you, but I've already told you, you know, you should seek other treatment. They're like, you know what? You may not be helping with this situation, but you're making my life a lot better with many other things. Not to overstep boundaries. I feel like I've become everyone's shrinks. I don't try to practice that, but they just need somebody to talk with. During this COVID, absolutely, like, it's critical. I really seriously recommend people to consider getting some sort of mental health treatments, or just even a mental health day. What does that mean? You go to a pond, throw a rock, scream your lungs out, stare at the fish, at the birds, just clear your head and go home. That's it. Right. That's my recommendation, whether as a business owner, telling another business owner, or just telling that to a patient. I repeat this over and over every day.
Right.
So if you see me screaming by our river, don't get offended. I'm just clearing my head out that day.
I'll get out of my car. I'll scream with you. I mean, that's what I'll do. So, hey, thank you. I kept you longer than I told you what. I apologize, but I love speaking with you today. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure having you, and thanks for having us.
Yeah, you bet. So if you're looking for a good chiropractor, by all means, North Liberty, Chiro Today. Go see Amin. Walk-ins, he'll take you. And he's a very open person. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. You have a great day.
You too.